Then we're going to practice. You want to make sure you always have clean water with this one, because if you have dirty water, as you see, as you notice, it basically makes your colors muddy. So with tempera paints, like we've practiced this semester, you have the ability to make your color lighter by adding white. Watercolors are different. Watercolors, instead of adding white, you're going to use water to make your color lighter. And everybody should have a palette. We were supposed to have clean, your palettes clean, but I know some of you are still working on your color wheel. So just watch me real quickly, and you can use your palette the same way, but I'm just going to show you. So when you have your palette clean, you want to pour a little bit of water into those mixing areas. And, I just dropped made it get a little bit, trying to situate myself so I have more room. And the same way I showed you before when we did this worksheet is we're gonna practice with orange and blue. Does everybody have orange and blue? So get a pool of blue going, and you can even put it on your palette. So we want, so if you don't have this palette, that's fine. I gave you guys a large plastic tray, so you can just make a pool of the blue like I'm doing right now on your palette in a clean area. They should all be clean. So just do what I'm doing right now, and then you're going to add water to it to make it lighter. But I just want to show you this technique, okay? So do you see how I made a pool of blue, right? Just watch me for 1 second how I make it lighter. I'm going to lift it up. So I dipped my brush into water, and I made a pool of this color and brought it over to this palette. And now I added water to each of the mixing areas next to it, and I'm just going to slowly empty up my brush. So it's diluting it by making it lighter. On your plastic palette, all you're going to do is add water to it to make it lighter. But watch. I wiped off my brush, and I'm going to move to the next one. See how it's getting lighter in value? Okay, so that's how you can control that value. Okay? So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our shape from light to dark first with one color, and then we're going to practice with the complementary color, which is orange. So you can see how those values will layer on top of each other. We don't have a pencil to sketch with, so we're just going to use our paintbrush to sketch with. If you feel more comfortable using a pencil, you can. And when you guys are doing your still life, that's what you're going to kind of do. Does everybody have a pencil? Go ahead and get a pencil out, and you can see. So lightly sketch. See how lightly I'm sketching my box out? I think this might be helpful. This is what you want to do for your still life. I'm going to draw mine a little bit darker so you can see it on the recording. So draw the cube, and then outline the shadow behind it. And we're going to also practice down here. You can just use one of them. We're going to do the value. And then we're going to do light to dark. So it's going to be light, medium, dark. Okay? So, with your paint, remember the darkest value where you pulled up your paint with the, you're gonna add in, if you were looking at this picture to paint from, And we're going to fill in that shadow with the darkest blue. And that's where we took our paintbrush and we made a pool of that paint. Go ahead and put that shadow in. Oh, sure. There's always pencils for you guys up by the Christmas tree too. So see how I put that shadow in for you? That was my darkest paint. I already diluted it with water to make it lighter. So I washed my brush out because I don't want to make it darker. And if you notice the cube, this is the lightest side, right? Then this is the medium value, and this is the dark value. So down here on the value scale, if you can see, where we have lights, I have my lightest wash. See how light that is? And now I'm going to go to the next level. I had the dark, the medium. So it's a little bit darker. And then the darkest. So go ahead and practice getting that gradation. That's what we're trying to get. A light, medium, and a dark. The watercolor paper is going to be better to paint on because it's not going to wrinkle up like this, okay? And we're going to do the same thing up here. We're going to leave the white of that first cube, white of the paper. Then we're going to take our medium tone. We're going to paint, this is the second to the darkest part of the cube. And then I want the lightest wash on top. So you get that variation. If you need to add another wash to it to make it dark, you can. Remember I showed you how to do paper blotting. If you need to blot on top, you can. See how my cube is white, medium, dark. White, medium, dark. Clean your brush out on the back. I want you to pick an opposite color. If you don't have orange, just pick a color that's opposite. And we're going to use that to fill in. We're going to do a wash. Be careful. Avoid that cube area. Let it dry for a little bit. So just focus on the areas that don't have any paint. We don't want that to bleed. It's a real quick lesson. You could also make your cube stand out more by blending the colors together like we've already practiced. So you could take your orange, go halfway down that strip, clean out your brush, take your blue, too much, I gotta wipe some of that off. And when you mix the orange and blue together, do you remember what it creates? Brown. Look at that. So you can get two different looks. So just basic value. So as you're building your still life, this is kind of the basics of what you're going to be doing, right? Starting light and then building up. A really cool thing that we have that I splurged and I bought is after this is dry, I have water. You can go back if you want details. I have watercolor pencils. So they work just like this, but you can actually draw on top and then blend with water. Okay? So those are the basics that we're going to cover today.